Hey everybody, it's Dan. I'm back yet again, this time to discuss pollinators, their importance, and what we can do to help foster a healthy population of pollinating species in our gardens. Um, when I talk about pollinators, I'm generally just talking about insects, particularly bees and butterflies. Um, these insects are extremely important. They're kind of responsible for pollinating the food supply of much of the world. And what they do is they when you have a flower, that flower produces pollen and nectar, and some species such as butterflies like feed on that nectar, and they pollen attaches to them and they bring it to the next flower, um, and that pollinates the flower. In the case of, like, let's say a tomato or a pepper, if you have the flower on there, um, that's how you end up getting fruit on it. It needs to be pollinated. Bees are similar. They of course use all this nice stuff that flowers produce to make honey, and in the process, they pollinate all of our plants, or many of them. Some plants are self-pollinating, some are not, but most of the stuff that we grow does need to be pollinated. Pollinators are very important, obviously, like I said, because they are the reason why we have so many of these things, and fruit in particular, and so many different kinds of fruits and vegetables. But they're also in a state of pretty serious decline worldwide. The numbers of a lot of these insects have been dropping precipitously for a whole bunch of different reasons, from the use of certain pesticides, pressures from climate change, the kind of diminished biodiversity, so like the loss of native plant species and all these other things that they depend on to survive. So it's ecologically important to help these species survive. And it's also good for your garden because it's going to result in a higher yield if you're getting more pollination, particularly on your flowering crops. Most, if not all, the community gardens are, or the community farms, sorry, are have like a good supply of perennial plants that attract pollinators. Mint is a really good one. They like mint flowers. Anise hyssop is another one that we've used. Um, so you want those herbs. It's a good reason to, like, we did the herb cutting video. It's a good reason to do that, particularly with mint. I'm in the process of bringing a lot of marigolds around to all of the gardens, which tend to attract bees. Zinnias are another good flower. Um, and I tend to use things that are in certain colors because butterflies in particular are attracted to specific colors. So they like yellow, they like purple, and to some extent they like red as well. So plants like anise hyssop, that's a purple flower. I like to use those. And zinnias come in all different colors, marigolds come in all different colors, but I try to err on the side of colors that are going to be particularly attractive to pollinator species. Um, and yeah, I mean it's you're going to get them, but planting these plants and planting these flowers, particularly your herbs and your flowers, um, is going to give them more of a reason to stop by your garden. And another thing that's good to do is to use different shapes of flowers. So some pollinators, bees in particular, particularly honeybees and like smaller bees, like the sort of like a flatter cup-shaped or saucer-shaped flower. Whereas bumblebees and many species of butterflies, they have a long tongue, like a long proboscis. So they tend to gravitate toward tube-shaped flowers. So varying like the flower shapes is also very good as well. And another thing, a really easy thing that you could do, another thing that pollinators need is water. They like a water source, and it's super easy to make a little pollinator bath. So if you have, this is just like a drainage saucer for a pot, a plant pot. This is just a plant pot. Um, what you want to do is find like a small flat rock like that, put that in the middle, and then just put some gravel around it. You don't have to, but it's good to put a little bit of gravel around it, and then just fill it up with water. So it doesn't cover, you don't want it to cover the platform or all of the rocks, but just have some water in there. And you can do a few of these and just put them throughout your garden in like sunnier spots. So what they'll do, once you get more butterflies and bees, which we should be starting to get right now, Um, they'll stop by, they'll sun themselves, they'll bask, and they'll drink the water, and that'll encourage them to come by as well. So through a combination of flowers, herbs, and providing a water source in a hospitable environment, um, you can attract more pollinators to your garden, which, as we discussed, is good for all sorts of reasons. So I'll be out there distributing flowers and checking in on our perennial herbs and making sure that all of our plants are looking good this week. And I look forward to seeing you out there. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you again soon.